Hey everyone, welcome back. You guys really outdid yourselves with this deep dive request.
Yeah, this is a juicy one.
It really is. We're going full on symbiote this time, diving into the origins of Venom.
One of the most recognizable villains in the Marvel Universe.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, when we put out the call for source material, we weren't
It's an
expecting.
article in Spanish.
Yeah. Talk about going the extra mile, but hey, we love a challenge, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't worry, we'll be breaking it all down in English.
We've got a lot to unpack because let me tell you, Venom's story is way more complicated than I ever imagined.
Oh yeah, this goes way deeper than just your average bad guy origin story.
Way deeper. Like, we're talking cosmic level stuff here.
Before Spider-Man, before even Earth existed, there was Null.
Okay, null. So we're not easing into this, I see. We're jumping straight to the cosmic horror.
That's right, Null, the god of symbiotes, the creator of Venom's species. It all starts with him.
Okay, so for those of us who haven't been brushing up on our ancient symbiote deities, who is this null guy?
Imagine a being of pure darkness, born in the void that exists before the universe as we know it.
Okay, so even older than my grandma's fruitcake.
Basically.
Yeah.
And he wasn't too happy when the Celestials, those cosmic beings who shaped the universe, started bringing in light and order.
The Celestials, right? Those giant space gods that could probably crush a planet with their pinky finger.
Exactly. They were all about creation and Null. He thrived on chaos, on darkness,
So basically, the universe's biggest buzzkill.
pretty much. And to fight the Celestials, Null created a weapon unlike any other. The first symbiote.
Wait, hold on. Are you telling me that the symbiotes, those creepy, slithering alien costumes we know and love, weren't always about bonding with hosts and taking over worlds?
Nope. The very first symbiote was a weapon forged by Null himself. A sword, in fact.
A sword. Okay, now that's just metal. But seriously, a symbiote sword, what's that even like?
It's hard to even imagine, right? This living weapon, an extension of Null's will, used to spread darkness and chaos throughout the cosmos.
So how did we get from a giant space god with a symbiote sword to, well, Venom?
That, my friend, is where things get really interesting.
Oh, I bet it does. Spill the cosmic tea.
Well, our source material tells us about this epic showdown, a battle for the ages between Null and, wait for it, Thor.
Thor! The god of thunder. Talk about a family reunion. Thor versus Venom's great-grandpappy.
You got it. Thor, wielding Mjolnir, facing off against Null and his living symbiote weapon. It was a clash of titans.
So what happened? Did Thor just smash Null with his hammer and call it a day?
It was more than just a brawl, though I'm sure there was plenty of smashing involved. Thor's thunder, it had an unexpected side effect. It severed the connection Null had over the symbiotes. They were free from his control for the first time.
Whoa, talk about a plot twist. So these symbiotes, once tools of destruction, are suddenly, what? Sentient, self-aware.
Exactly. Imagine suddenly realizing you weren't just a tool, a weapon. You were your own being, capable of independent thought and action. It was a revelation.
And what did these newly freed symbiotes do with their newfound freedom? I'm guessing they didn't just join a book club.
They did not.
They did not. Okay, so we've got a bunch of superpowered alien symbiotes, fresh off a cosmic rebellion, free from their creator. What did they do next?
Well, they didn't exactly throw Null a retirement party.
I can imagine.
They were angry, confused, and looking for a place to belong after being used as weapons for so long.
That'll leave you with some baggage.
So they did what any group of superpowered beings would do in that situation. They flipped the script.
Flip the script. How so?
They imprisoned Null on a planet made entirely of symbiotes.
Whoa. Talk about poetic justice. They trapped him with the very beings he created.
Exactly. And that planet. It became known as Clintar, the home world of the symbiotes.
Clintar. So that's where it all began, the symbiote homeworld. But how do we get from this cosmic drama to, Spider-Man in a black suit?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Well, our source takes a bit of a time jump here.
Fast forwarding through a few cosmic millennia.
Pretty much. It takes us to 1984 and drops us right into the middle of one of Marvel's biggest comic book events, Secret Wars.
Oh man, Secret Wars. I remember those comics. Epic battles, crazy team-ups, and a certain web-slinger getting a brand new look.
Exactly. This is where Spider-Man's story and the symbiote story first collide.
And I'm guessing it wasn't a meet-cute.
Not quite. Picture this. Spider-Man's suit is torn to shreds after an intense battle.
Yeah, happens to the best of us. Laundry pile gets pretty intense when you're fighting supervillains every week.
So he stumbles upon a room full of alien tech left over from the whole Secret Wars situation. And he sees it. this sleek black sphere just pulsing with energy.
Okay, that's kind of creepy. I'd probably keep walking.
But Spider-Man, he's curious, right? He reaches out, and the sphere reacts, engulfing him, transforming into that iconic black suit.
The one and only. But as we've learned, symbiotes are a bit more than just fancy dress-up.
Oh, much more. What Spider-Man doesn't realize is that he's just bonded with a being that's now absorbing his powers, his memories, even his personality.
Okay, that's way past creepy and straight into nightmare fuel territory.
Right. And at first it seems great. Enhanced strength, unlimited webbing, he's unstoppable.
Right.
But then the side effects kick in.
There are always side effects.
The symbiote starts to influence Spider-Man, making him more aggressive, more reckless.
So it's messing with his mind.
It's amplifying his darker impulses. He's pushing people away, becoming more violent,
Yeah.
and he doesn't understand why.
That's terrifying. Imagine having your entire personality hijacked by an alien parasite.
It's a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
The source material really emphasizes how insidious the symbiote can be. It doesn't just want to control your body, it wants to control your mind.
So what does Spider-Man do? This isn't exactly a situation you can just web sling your way out of.
It takes a lot.
Mm.
But Spider-Man eventually realizes that the suit is alive, and it's trying to permanently bond with him.
Talk about a toxic relationship.
He seeks help from Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, because who else do you call when you have an alien suit problem?
Nope.
Reed figures out that the symbiote is vulnerable to sound, specifically high-frequency vibrations.
Enter the church bell.
You got it. Spider-Man uses the vibrations to weaken the symbiote and finally break free.
That must have been one intense sonic cleanse. But what about the symbiote? Where does it go?
Well, it's alone again, rejected, filled with all the negative emotions it absorbed from Spider-Man. And guess what?
What?
It's looking for a new host.
A symbiote scorned. I bet it wasn't exactly looking to join a support group and talk about its feelings.
You'd be surprised, symbiote therapy is a growing field.
Oh, really? Maybe we should do a deep dive on that next. But seriously, this symbiote is out there, all alone, full of Spider-Man's angst, and looking for a new place to call home.
And it finds one. Or rather, it finds someone. Eddie Brock.
Ah, Eddie. Our source material really dives into his story, and let me tell you, it's a roller coaster.
He was at the top of his game, a respected journalist, until, well, Spider-Man happened.
Spider-Man inadvertently ruined his career. Ouch, talk about collateral damage.
He lost his job, his reputation, everything.
Man, and I thought getting a parking ticket on my birthday was bad.
So Eddie's angry, understandably, and he blames Spider-Man.
Who wouldn't? I mean, I'd be pretty ticked off if a superhero accidentally wrecked my life, too. But how does this turn Eddie into Venom?
Remember how the symbiote feeds on emotions? Eddie is a walking buffet of rage and resentment at this point.
The perfect host for a symbiote with an axe to grind, right?
Exactly. They find each other, two broken individuals, both feeling betrayed by Spider-Man, both seeking some kind of revenge.
And boom, Venom is born. But our source says there's more to it than just that. They describe Venom as this complex figure, an anti-hero. He's not just out for mindless destruction. He targets criminals, often the ones who've slipped through the cracks of the justice system.
He's got a code, a very twisted, violent code, but a code nonetheless.
So he's like the Punisher with an alien symbiote.
Kind of. But what's really interesting is his relationship with Spider-Man. It's not just pure hatred.
Really? What else is there?
Our source talks about Maximum Carnage, this epic storyline where Venom and Spider-Man have to team up to defeat Carnage.
Ah, yes, Carnage. We can't forget about dear old Carnage, Venom's offspring, right?
Yep. Basically, Carnage is like Venom, but without any sense of restraint. Pure chaos.
Sounds delightful. So Venom has to team up with the superhero he blames for all his problems to take down an even bigger threat.
Exactly. And it's during those moments that you see the conflicting sides of Venom.
He hates Spider-Man, but he hates what Carnage represents even more.
It shows that Venom, even with all that rage and power, is capable of good.
Or at least capable of recognizing a bigger evil when he sees one.
Right. And it makes you think, what really defines a hero or a villain? Is it about your origins, your powers, or your choices?
Venom definitely blurs those lines, that's for sure. But he's not the only one to bond with the symbiote, right?
Not even close.
Yeah.
The source mentions Groot. The symbiote bonds with Groot, of all people.
Seriously, the giant talking tree. That's a pairing I never saw coming. How does that even work?
Well, apparently, the symbiote takes on some of Groot's more nurturing qualities. It becomes less about aggression, more about protection.
So the Venom symbiote goes from lethal protector to actually quite sweet protector.
Pretty much. And then there's the time it bonds with Deadpool. But that's a story for another day.
Oh man, Deadpool and Venom. Now that's a recipe for chaos. I can only imagine the mayhem. But it just proves that the symbiote can adapt, evolve, depending on its host.
Right. It's like a mirror, reflecting and amplifying the nature of whoever it bonds with.
Which is both terrifying and fascinating. So where does this leave us? What's the final verdict on Venom?
Is he a villain? An anti-hero? A force of nature?
He's all of those things, isn't he? And that's what makes him so compelling.
He's a reminder that things aren't always black and white. There's a lot of gray in the world and in ourselves.
And sometimes, even the most monstrous exterior can hide a surprising capacity for change.
Venom's story is proof of that.
Well, that's a perfect note to end on, don't you think? We've gone from the dawn of the universe to the streets of New York City, all thanks to one very persistent symbiote.
It just goes to show you, never underestimate the power of a good origin story.
Absolutely. And a huge thank you to our amazing listeners who sent in this incredible source material. Remember, we couldn't do these deep dives without you.
So keep those requests coming.
Until next time, stay curious out there.